The World Cup, the most prestigious prize in all of football, is upon us once again. All the drama, the tension, and the headbutts of the beautiful game are coming to Qatar? Really? In the winter? Who signed off on that? All that transfer of wealth aside, I figured to celebrate I should play a football game. And what better football game than an obscure platformer for the Gameboy Advance that maybe 5 other people, including myself, have ever heard of? Did you really expect FIFA or Pro Evo on this channel? Go Beckham, Adventure on Soccer Island is a platformer for the GBA released in 2002, coinciding with the Japan-Korea World Cup. And yes, addressing the elephant in the title immediately, the Beckham here is indeed David Beckham, who had licensed his likeness and name to Scouse developer Rage, which is a bit odd given the historic rivalry between Manchester and Liverpool, but at the same time, to say he had a bit of a media presence would be an understatement. Rage had already had success with the Beckham name on PlayStation 1, and the man was on top of the world. He was flying high at Manchester United, captain of the England national team, freshly married to a Spice Girl, Bend It Like Beckham was in the cinemas, he had a lucrative move to Real Madrid bubbling away, and a certain boot to the head incident was just starting to brew away in the press. To the Americans watching, since I do see that you are the bulk of my audience in the analytics, think peak Tom Brady, but minus the ability to talk. Seriously, every time David Beckham opens his gob, it sounds like a ruptured squeaky toy, which is proof that if there is a god, they've got a wicked sense of humour. Go Beckham, unlike Rage's previous title, is a platformer in the vein of Super Mario World in both presentation and art style. It's quite easy to look at, and moving Beckham feels good. Since this is a footy-themed platformer, your primary weapon is of course a ball, which you can kick in 8 directions to beat enemies, collect items, and platform. The ball can take a moment to get used to, but when you do, it is a wicked concept for a platformer. See, the ball can only be used while it is dangerous, namely after it's first been kicked and typically after the first rebound, much like a real ball losing momentum. The trick lies in controlling the ball by curling it, bouncing it off the environment, heading it, and of course, kicking it in any direction. It takes a second to get used to, but when you do, the controls in this game are phenomenal. Enemies like the winger that swoop at you are taken down rather breezily with a quick curled shot and can be fouled out of the game again with a well-timed reverb. The only real issue is that for the first stage, you have to go and collect the ball after every kick, like some sort of peasant. But as soon as you get into the second world, you get a magic whistle that automatically resummons the ball to your feet by pressing B, unless an enemy takes it from your possession. Then running up and tackling is the only option. You could also, I don't know, lie on the floor and thrash your leg at somebody, but we're not trying to get sent off today. Speaking of the enemies, they're all of course vaguely football themed. You've got fenders, goalies, wingers, strikers, nippers, and minkies? Yeah, that one I don't get at all, but it throws dangerous balls at you. Is it perchance a peeved Swansea employee? Who knows? That's it, Adam. Keep making jokes that will confuse and terrify the Americans. It really is quite surprising how good the game feels to play, which is a bit of a bummer given that it does have several glaring flaws. Firstly, levels are barren and empty, with little variety. All of the stages have you go through and find locks, which, once you found all of them, unlock the goal. Each level takes roughly 5 to 10 minutes to complete, and while yes, there are various collectibles to find that can extend this time, only one of them matters: the letterballs. What do? Maybe they give you a different costume or bonus levels? No, all they do is a one-time score multiplier. Also, every level, and I mean every level, has the same background music. It's not a bad tune, but it's far from thematic for what we're exploring here. Furthering the pile of disappointing, the bosses, also called monster managers at the end of each stage, are all a bit naff, which is a shame because they talk a lot of smack when they introduce themselves. To which, of course, the natural response is, "Let's be having you!" Okay, sure Delia, but Sadly, they all have the same basic pattern in the same style of arena. They also all share the same boss music, which frankly is another disappointment, and are all beaten with 3 hits. Yes, they have different weaknesses, but the game outright tells you what they are, and did I mention there's only 4 of them? Well, 4 regular bosses, and then 1 final one. Mr. Woe. After beating all 4 leagues, yes, the worlds are called leagues, very nice touch game, it's off to the final stages through Mr. Woe's castle. You'd think that these would be the ultimate test, but no. They're actually the easiest of the lot, which is surprising to say the least. The actual boss fight with Woe himself has a few moments though. The only real advice given is to keep hitting him. Fair enough. And he has 3 phases, each one with its own attack pattern. Sadly, all of them are very, very readable, and the only reason I died on my first attempt was just me poorly keeping track of the obstacles between phase 1 and 2. After defeating him, Woe repents, and yeah, that's it. Go Beckham and all that. It is a bizarre little game, but do I recommend it? Sure, the control and gameplay here is great, but the barren levels, the lack of difficulty, and the very short length of about 3 hours make it a very hard one to recommend, I'm afraid. Also, this game is European exclusive, much like most of Rage's catalogue, so import it if you want. It's not too pricey, but certainly uncommon due to low sales figures. It's a shame, since it's got tons of potential to do something really, really special, but it just doesn't quite get there. Where have I had that before? And on that note, good night.